Now, this is the breaking input that we are getting on top of 10 a.m. that Israeli military has in fact confirmed that the strike against Iran was successful. So this is the statement that is coming in from the IDF. The attack that they went ahead against Iran has now been successful. Let's listen into what exactly IDF had to say on the attack.
I can now confirm that we have concluded the Israeli response to Iran's attack against Israel. We conducted targeted and precise strikes on military targets in Iran, thwarting immediate threats to the State of Israel. The Israel Defense Forces has fulfilled its mission. If the regime in Iran were to make the mistake of beginning a new round of escalation, we will be obligated to respond. Our message is clear. All those who threaten the State of Israel and seek to drag the region into wider escalation will pay a heavy price. We demonstrated today that we have both the capability and the resolve to act decisively, and we are prepared on offense and defense to defend the State of Israel and the people of Israel.
So this is the breaking information that we are getting at this point, that IDF has in fact confirmed that their attack against Iran has in fact been successful. And considering how this has in fact been the retaliation from the Israel side, because remember, the attack from Iran came on 1st of October, and ever since there was of course a lot of speculation that there could in fact be a retaliatory attack from the Israel side, and now Israel has struck back at Iran at this point. And what the IDF have in fact confirmed is that the spokesperson, the sound bite also that you just heard, has in fact confirmed that it has in fact been the military bases that has in fact been targeted in Iran specifically. Remember, there has been a lot of pressure that was built up by the Western countries, specifically the United States, against any sort of attack when it comes to the nuclear side of Iran. And that is why we are seeing that, that Israel this time has retaliated, but has only targeted the military bases. So that has been the target. Of course, to know what is really the damage on ground, we will in fact joined by our colleague Siddharth Mishra. I'm joined by Siddharth Mishra. Siddharth, good morning. Tell us, this was of course on the expected line that Israel was in fact going to retaliate to the attack that happened on 1st of October. But what do we know as of now? Has this actually been the military bases that has been targeted as being claimed by the IDF? Also, what has been the damage on ground? What are you hearing?
Well, Sharon, it would be too early to give viewers the exact assessment of the damage in Iran, but so far what we know is that there were 3 waves of attack from Israel, and which lasted for 4 hours. There were sounds of explosion heard in Tehran and various other places in Iran. 20 targets in total have been struck down by Israel. There have been dozens of jets used in these airstrikes, F-35, cutting-edge F-35 stealth fighter jets. Damage is still unclear, and the most important one, Sharon, this is after U.S. Secretary of State had just concluded his visit to Israel and Middle East. Also, as far as the locations are concerned, so Iranian side has confirmed this in a release that Israel has targeted military centers in the provinces of Tehran, Khuzestan and Elam early this morning. So these are 3 locations which have been confirmed by Iranian side, but officially they are maintaining that there has been a very limited damage that have been caused by Israeli forces. Now, this was a retaliatory attack by Israel, Sharon. On 1st of October, a barrage of rockets, projectiles, ballistic missiles were fired to Israel by Iran. And perhaps since then, it was anticipated that Israel will retaliate, and perhaps their spokespersons and in fact their senior officials were also confirming this to us, that there's going to be the attack, retaliatory attack to defend the territory of Israel. And today Israel executes that attack, and this is after Secretary of State Antony Blinken met Benjamin Netanyahu. Now, the dynamics are evolving in Middle East, Sharon, and perhaps this is a time when US is putting a lot of pressure on Israel and other stakeholders in Middle East to end the war. But to end the war, it is required that the Hamas surrenders the hostage first. And perhaps that's the condition which Israel has put forward. In fact, in the last address after the assassination of Ismail Haniyeh, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu made it very clear and perhaps gave offer to Hamas that surrender the hostage and we will let you live. Perhaps that's the condition that have been set by Israel. So even if US wants Israel to come to the table for the peace talks or perhaps this conflict to end, then US has to make sure that Hamas release the hostages. Point number one. Point number two, Sharon, after today's attack, which is majorly being seen as a symbolic attack by Israel, perhaps to send out a message that if you can touch us, we can touch you back. And major sites which are like nuclear sites or perhaps the oil fields have not been targeted, because if those places had been targeted by Israel, it would have further flared up the situation. So it was more to give a message to Iran that if you can attack us, we can attack you back. Point number one. Point number two, that it would really be interesting to see whether Iran will attack Israel back or not, because now the situation will depend on that. Because on one end, where US or perhaps President Biden has put in all energy and resources in Middle East to make sure that he gets the ceasefire before his exit as the President of the United States. So that's kind of a main goal that he has right now. So it would really be interesting to see, and he's trying his best to perhaps bring all stakeholders to the one table. But for that, the Hamas needs to release the hostage first. So that particular thing is going on. But if Iran attacks Israel again, then this would flare up the situation even further and could make situation even worse in Middle East.